Welcome to the section of my channel where I present you budget decks. The decks will be playable, somewhat competitive, but don't expect to top any event with them. In this format, the decks will not cost more than 50 to 80 bucks, and I'll really try to stick to it. And today's budget deck is gonna be Lair of Darkness, like I already announced at the end of my last video. I really wanted to make a Lair of Darkness build because the deck is actually quite cheap in total. The thing is about this deck that like one of the positive things if you really want to get this deck is that you can do so much with it, and I think in the future there will still be like a lot of things that you can change this deck with. You can I can put in some Infernoids if you want to, and there's a lot of other combinations that might or might not be as good. This is like a more virus focused build. Like there's obviously tons of other builds, and the more money you have, the more you can actually do with this deck as well. So like if you really get into Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're a beginner and really want to start playing a somewhat control-y deck where you don't have to do too much weird extra deck shenanigans, then this deck is really nice. But when you get into the game and are like, oh, I kind of want to invest a little bit more into it and I really like this deck, then you can make actually a lot of stuff happening. I think especially the new Pot of Extravaganza, or whatever that deck is now called on the TCG, could actually bump up the consistency of this deck by a lot, but for the price, this can never be considered budget at all. The price of the deck with the main cards in general is somewhat between 30 and 50 bucks, depends on what you opt to put in. Obviously, you see the Boral cards here, Boral Sword and the Nightmare Unicorn and so on. They are quite expensive, so they are not considered in the price. I just bumped them in because usually you don't need to extract that much. What you would need, I say, like, is a Stardust Dragon for the Malefic Stardust Dragon. You don't have to run him, but he doesn't bump up the price too much, and there's quite cheap options to get this card. So in general, I actually liked it. One Darkstrike Fighter because it's level 7. You can easily get him with the Strudo, so I kind of needed him. And Black Rose Dragon or the Quantum Dragon to have like some kind of removal and stuff if you really need that at the time. And as a rank 8, like I would run at least one rank 8, especially when you want to get rid of your Stardust Dragon and have a Darkest Diablos. Then either get the Negate going or go for the Harbinger for the... let's say you can decide what negate, but only negate spell cards, which is arguably not as strong as it was once before. But going into the deck build, I run double Darkest Diablos. I think you could run 3, but it can be quite bricky, and I think 2 is enough. What you can do is actually bump up the Dragonshine, because with Dragonshine you have quite a few cards to bump to the graveyard. With a few, I mean 2 basically, either the Strudo or Darkest Diablo, so putting it at 2 wouldn't be too bad. So if you want to, you can do that. I run double Malefic Stardust Dragon. First of all, he's a dark monster, he's level 8, so you can go into rank 8s with Darkest Diablos. Second of all, he has 2,500 attack points, so he triggers like your Eradicator virus, which can be pretty neat, and is also still very good for the Devastation virus if you happen to not have like monsters in your opponent's field. If your opponent kind of knows what you're going for, then that can be problematic. But with this card, it's kind of neat. Plus, it protects your field spell, which is kind of the key card of your deck. So having that, protecting it against cards like Ghost Orc, which is not played as much. That being said, still people might go for it at one point again, and it can be quite strong. Downside is that you can only attack with this card when it's on the field, but there's so many ways to get rid of it. Like you can tribute it with cards like Lilith, you can tribute it for your viruses, you can link it away. There's so many things that you can do to get rid of this card if you actually want OTK or go for like a ton of damage. That I really think this card actually helps the deck a lot. And if you only draw into one card at the start, then I think you're pretty set. I really like the card in the deck. You don't have to run it, not a lot of people do, but I actually enjoy this card in the deck so much. One Strudo to go into your level 7 synchro plays can be quite neat. Getting like a tribute off, for example, with the Darkstrike Fighter, getting more damage onto the board if you need to finish. It's basically your Cowboy for game, but for more damage than Cowboy. That being said, triple a Remarking of Wickedness. Basically, you can use its effect to like search cards like Darkest Diablos and so on, but mainly you'll use it to actually search in Lair of Darkness. That being said, it is quite neat to tribute monsters in your opponent's turn during your turn, because the deck has 2 things. You can tribute monsters during your opponent's turn with Lair of Darkness and your trap cards and your quick effect with Lilith, but also you want to have place during your own turn. If you don't have the right trap cards and so on, then this card can be quite helpful. One Armageddon Knight to get basically set cards into the graveyard like Darkest Diablos and Strudo. Also with the Strudo in the graveyard, you then have a good card to go into your level 7 synchros. I run one card that you don't need to run. I like it because it kind of opens up plays during my own turn a little bit, and it can be quite strong. Plus it helps you to get off the full force virus, but you don't really need it. It's like it works somewhat like a kaiju, I guess, but you don't have to run it. I just thought I'd put it in. Triple Earth, obviously, the heart and soul of this deck, because you can search all your trap cards. Thing is, I run 2 trap cards only at 2, not at 3. So, first of all, that can create some mind games with the opponent if you show them 2 times the same card and another one, and they'll be like, okay, like probability wise 66% and so on. But a lot of the time you actually do get, like every third time technically speaking, you get the other card, and that can create some confusion because he doesn't really know what you have. Can actually go for some plays. Return to the front lines is basically so you can bump Lilith up to 2000 and trigger your virus, for example. This is also a neat combo, and you get her effects off, so I actually felt like being searchable back to the front is quite a neat card in the deck. Tour guide to search Lilith, make her 2000 then, because she's special summoned. But in general, it's a good card, but you don't have to run it if you don't want to. You could put in like 1 Burning Abyss card in the deck as well to trigger some effects, but I like it for Lilith, but you don't have to if you don't want to. The good thing is, even if her effect is negated, since the tributing is a cost, you can still tribute, you just don't get to search. So this is like a thing that you have to keep in mind. Steam the Cloak, basically also for the tribute effect during your turn. Dragon Shine to get your Dark Diablos or your student in the deck. Terraforming, obviously you want to search Lair of Darkness. Foolish Burial, same basically graveyard setup. Enemy controller to get rid of 2 monsters of your opponent, go for the OTK. Good disruption during your opponent's turn. Actually a good card during your turn either if you want to push for game. Lair of Darkness, you have to always watch out. Don't give your opponent too many tokens that you can't get rid of. But in general, the card is like the heart of the deck, and making everything be dark can be quite neat as well, because it sometimes screws your opponent up. It's not quite a zombie world kind of thing, but still, it's pretty good. I ran 1 Full Force Virus. Full Force Virus can be quite strong, but you don't have that many monsters to trigger the effect, first of all. And second of all, I think at the moment, when you consider like all those hand traps and small combo pieces and stuff, it can, like, the deck devastating virus seemed better to me because you can actually get rid of the stuff, and with full force you can't get rid of any like hand traps, I think, besides effect failure maybe. So I decided to go for deck devastating virus. The only virus that you don't really want is crush card, and you could go for 1 Grinning Grave virus, but just to get rid of any of your opponent's monster. But I felt like Ballista Squad is just a better option in general for that then. Triple Torrential Tribute, just so you have place if Lair of Darkness is not on the field, because you want to have that as well. Being able to search it with Lilith can be quite a good disruption, and you won't always have Lair. It's quite vulnerable, even though you try to protect it, obviously. Having that as a play is quite neat. Now that it's off the ban list, Triple Eradicator Virus can be very strong against Ice Strikers. Altergeist, I've had some matchup where it's devastating, even though it's not the deck devastation virus. But yeah, this card is insane in most of the decks, even though in the current meta it doesn't do much against some decks, so you might want to side it out, but you'll probably not take this deck to like a very competitive environment. And when you're not playing against dangers, then this card can be very helpful. Return to the front list, already explained that. You can bring back monsters to tribute and so on. There's quite a lot of things. Ballista Squad, I really like the card. It's a double disruption. Basically, you can tribute one of your opponent's monster and destroy 1 card it controls. It's like your back row removal and so on. So I actually kind of like the card. You could bump it up to 3, but I like it at 2, like I already explained. And Triple Metaverse, so you have a searchable field searcher with Lilith technically. Which is kind of strong in the deck as well. You could cut like the terraformings technically, or 1 at least, because you have a very, very high like count of cards to get into the field spell. But I think Metaverse is more of a desperate option. You rather want to start with Lair of Darkness in your hand and then like being able to use the tribute effect of Lilith for something else. Extra deck, already talked about it. You will get a lot of tokens, so like Apprentice is kind of neat. And that is basically it. That's the deck profile. All in all, if you want to build like a somewhat good deck with without the moral cards, for example, I would say, like I said at the start, like somewhat between 30 and maximum $60. Like maximum, that's already like going for some crazy extra deck choices and stuff. I was, when I put my list in, about like 40, so I think this deck is fairly cheap. It's based on a structure deck, so nothing will cost that much. And I enjoy it. I enjoy the playstyle. It can be quite linear, but it's quite good to learn the game. Or if you just want something else, then the straight up combo decks and annoy your opponent a little bit, that can work out quite well. Only problem with this deck is it's quite hard to actually finish the game. You'll drag out the game very long, and even though you can decimate the opponent's resources, you decimate your own resources as well. You don't plus as much, so it's kind of hard to actually finish off the game, especially when they constantly get tokens through your Lair of Darkness. I think that's one of the weaknesses right now. The deck is kind of slow compared to how fast it should be. Well, can't have it all, I guess. But that was my deck profile. Next one, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. I might do Shadow Vampires. This is what I want to do, so stay tuned. I'll definitely do them at one point. Not sure if this is going to be the next one, but stay tuned, like, subscribe, do whatever you feel like, and I hope you have a good day.